You're live now, Claire.
Hello and welcome to everybody. It's lovely to see you all here. It's lovely to welcome you to the home of the Virtual Nature School. So I'm Dr. Claire Warden and I'm delighted that we're engaged in this inquiry around It's Not a Box. Now today is an interesting day here in Scotland because the sun is shining, but it's got that edge of moving into the autumn. And so for us, these times of transition, when we're starting to look at the seasonal variation in this country, it gives us new gifts from the natural world. So the gift at the moment is that we have brambles, we have blackberries to pick, we have berries to harvest. In the springtime, we do a lot more growing. So today's inquiry is a little bit about what do you do about vegetables and growing things if you don't have a big forest or a big garden? Is it possible that there's a link between vegetables and boxes? Let's have a look at the film and find out.
Hello, welcome to our inquiry about It's Not Just a Box. So there were so many brilliant things in your Facebook groups that I couldn't bring all of the photographs together. So what I've done is just to give us a little sample here, but well done to everybody for such amazing ideas. So we've been involved with building and renovation. We've been using tools a lot, from drills to hammers to saws, to create these lovely environments for the bugs and beasties that live in our gardens. We've been using the natural things like fir cones to do some designing. We've had a go at using clay to make little homes to invite bumblebees to come to stay. We've been using paint and been inspired by the colours of the wasp body and the bee body. We've been thinking about what the bees need, and that's the most important thing because they help us so much, look after the flowers and make sure they pollinate. But as you'll hear in this film, they're also pretty vital for giving us food. We've been researching, so we've been looking at books and asking people questions and looking on the internet to find out about the variety of bees and all the different names that they've got. We've been rescuing bumblebees from having a bumblebee land on a watch to a bumblebee who's been put near a flower. Such caring things that we've been doing. And we've been out for walks, and all of a sudden we come upon the shape of the hexagon that was inspired, if you remember, from the shape that the bee uses to make the honeycomb. So in our talking tub today, we said we would want to have a little look at the way that we can use boxes with plants. Now I wonder therefore what we could grow in a box. If we don't have a big garden, we might only have a window box. If we don't have a window box, we might have a little tiny box that we can just put on the windowsill. But all of us can have a go at growing something. Now, one of the amazing things is that most people watching this little film have some form of lunchbox. And when you look at what this little boy is eating, you have to understand where it all comes from. So let's look first of all at those bananas, yummy bananas. And bananas are pretty tricky to grow in this country because they're actually grown in a much warmer part of the world. So growing tropical plants is quite difficult. But he also had an apple in his lunchbox. And an apple is something that is grown here. It's grown in Scotland, it's grown in the United Kingdom. So we can very easily grow new apples. When we go to the supermarket and we look at all of those fruit and vegetables, it's a good idea to have a look at where they come from. If they come from nearby, it means we can probably grow them. When you look at this picture, you can probably see, if you look really hard, that some of those vegetables seem to have roots growing from them. Well, anything that has a root on it can be regrown. We put lots of plants in boxes and we make gardens like this, we make allotments like this, so it's very easy for us to reach in and harvest our vegetables. Sometimes we put our boxes high up, and that's because we need to make sure that everybody has the chance to be able to reach those boxes. Some people use wheelchairs to get around, so we need to make sure that when we make our boxes to grow our food, that they can actually reach them. If you look at a box of vegetables and fruit, you've got to be able to think, could I grow any of these? And in your mind, you might say, no, I'm just going to eat them for my tea. Well, we are going to become detectives because some of those that you saw in that box are fruits and some of them are vegetables. So when people use that word, we need to really think about what it means. Here's one that you might know. We call this a sweet pepper, and we often think of it as a vegetable. But the tricky bit here is it's actually a fruit. And the reason we know it's a fruit is that when you cut it in half, you look inside your pepper and you look very carefully, you see these. Those are the seeds. And by collecting those, we can plant them and make new pepper plants. So a lot of the stuff that we throw away in a vegetable box like this can be regrown. So do you remember we talked about the root? Well, that onion will regrow. Can we see the green leaf? Well, that's celery. It will regrow. Even down to the fact that when you want to have some chips or boiled potatoes, when you're peeling your potato, in that peel that you're taking off the potato are little dots. They're the place where the shoots and the roots come off the potato. So you can actually grow a plant from that skin. Here's another one. I wonder if you can guess what it is. I call that one garlic. Here's that thing called celery. Now, not many people like the taste of celery. I do. In this picture, it shows you if you wanted to grow a new celery plant, what you need to do. So we need to cut off the bottom of the plant where it's been growing. And then, amazingly, if you put that into a jar with some water, you can see all those little white bits. They're the roots, and they will start to grow. And then from the top will grow the stems and the leaves that you can then harvest to have for your tea. Can you guess what this is? This is the bottom of a lettuce. And this one has just been put into a glass jar, and lo and behold, more lettuce starts to grow. This is a Chinese cabbage. And so this one, like some seeds, has to be put above the water just slightly. So you can use things to help you do that. So really today is about being a detective, going around and seeing if you can work out what is a fruit, because it has the seeds inside it, and what is a vegetable. It's a really tricky conversation. So just starting to think a little bit about that would be really interesting. And then see what you've got in your vegetable rack or your fruit rack and see if you can start to find the seeds that you can plant. Now, many things just need water to grow. When they start to germinate, you want to put a bit of water in a jam jar, and you might want to hold it up, and then you might use your cocktail sticks. But most seeds just start off with water. And then there are some farmers who decide to only let them grow in water, and they add food into that water, and that's called hydroponics. That's a really big word. Other people prefer to put their vegetables and plant their fruit trees and things into the soil, and that's the brown dirt, the earth that we also love playing with. So one of the things that you can be thinking about in your inquiry today is, okay, what food do I have in my box? Have a look in your vegetable rack, have a look in your fridge and see what you've got. And start your experiment to see what we could grow from your scraps of vegetables that you have in your kitchen. I look forward to hearing about your theories. I look forward to hearing about all your ideas about which plants you think will grow. I can't wait to get started in the virtual classroom.
Well, it's a day for thinking about what you've got in your house. And so this morning I looked in my box when I was in my kitchen and I found an avocado. And an avocado doesn't grow here in Scotland so easily. It likes warmer places. So I started to eat my avocado, and when I cut it open, I found a huge seed right in the middle of it. And so I've decided that I'm going to have a go at putting that great big seed onto some water and just suspend it just above the water and see if I can begin to grow something out of that beautiful, beautiful brown seed. Now, I'm going to have to be very patient. And so one of the things in the inquiry today that we're going to have to work on is patience. is problem solving, is having a go and thinking about what might work and not being too worried if it doesn't turn out the way you want it to, because sometimes that's what experimentation is all about. Having a go, not worrying if it works or it doesn't work, but learning about it by talking to your friends and to your family about what you think might have caused it. All right, now it's up to you to go now and be a detective, to search your kitchen, to search your nursery if you're at nursery or at school, and see what vegetables and fruit you can find. And then we'll be able to share how it is we've been getting on with vegetables and fruit in a box. I look forward to hearing about all your discoveries. See you later, everybody.